do ultra wide here. I can't hear anyone on Discord if you're trying to say something.
Good talk, Reed.
No, honestly,
Thank you.
I thought like the Joe Rogan podcast where we go back and forth with ideas, but it was just what I saw, and I thought it was really cool. So it was like, yeah.
Or your idea.
The reason why I chose this gender is because I honestly, I do have my own stand on it. So I'm always curious, like, what does that even mean, gender? You know, I always hear the same argument, and culture constructed based on where you're around and who influences you too. So, I mean, I was an experience, so you gotta really feel settled. How has it been so far?
I mean, today or just been for years?
You've been there for years.
He's doing this 4 years, 5 years, something like that. I'm less than a year.
Did you get one of my cards? You can check out a Twitch clip later on.
Please. I love stuff like this.
I'll share a clip.
I truly do believe everyone knows something that you don't know. You know, so I'm always interested to see like what does the other side think. We all live in this weird bubble, right? And everyone has one thing in common. We all think we're right. So I'm always interested to see what other people think because they believe they're truly right. I'm always like, why do they think that? How do they think that conclusion? What events or ideas were they taught that got to them? So that's ideology.
Yeah.
So this is really cool.
One of our favorite questions is, does believing something wrong feel the same as believing something right?
I would have loved to know that one.
Oh yeah.
Do you want to have another conversation with Dali and pick another topic?
Yeah, for sure. This is the one I can I definitely have a lot more evidence that I do believe, but oh yeah.
Hello, Christian.
Hello. Thank you for having me back on.
Thank you. Let's see. So, and obviously you're already okay with being recorded on all sorts of things. So, what kind of claim? What would you like to tell me about? What is the thing you believe that affects your choices?
Can you rephrase that question for me?
I'm looking for something that you believe, something that affects your choices. Like, I believe that water is 1 part oxygen and 2 parts hydrogen, but since I'm not a chemist, it doesn't affect any of my choices. I'm looking for something that you believe where you make choices based on that belief.
Oh shit.
No, you can tell me anything you had. That's just a primer. If you had one in mind, throw it out.
Like a question or
anything you want.
I was more understanding like the whole believing something that like is wrong is the same as believing something that is right.
Right. We just talked about one of the questions.
Yeah.
Does believing something that is wrong feel any different or feel the same as believing something that is right?
I would say the reason why I really wanted to do this question was I used to be a very big progressive left, crazy radical.
Okay.
I truly believed, the right were a bunch of bigots. You should, they were a bunch of like, old, I don't want to get too racist here, but, Caucasian people
Okay.
who knew absolutely nothing. And I truly believed that until I was presented with the other side and facts that incredibly disproved my own opinions.
Okay.
And my own feelings about certain things.
So you became convinced to a different position entirely.
Oh, completely, entirely.
Okay.
I believed that there was a gender gap. I believed that Republicans were dumb. I believed Obama was a great president. I believed Trump was a huge racist. I believed all these huge notions. I believed capitalism was wrong with everything and socialism was the answer.
Okay.
I believed Bernie Sanders. I believed all that stuff for so many years.
Okay.
And it wasn't until I heard the other side where I was, wow, I'm wrong. Like I was.
Tell me about this.
So college is an interesting place. Right?
Okay. Tell me about college.
So everyone goes to college for a variety of reasons,
Yes.
right? But you always hear when you go to college that you're gonna be introduced to new people with new ideas that are gonna challenge your own. That's called culture shock for most people.
Yeah, I would hope. I would hope that's the case.
So I grew up, around here in this area, very progressive. I obviously, growing up, my family supported Obama. I graduated in 2016. Bernie Sanders was coming up.
Mhm.
Tax of 1%, increase minimum wage.
Yep.
And I was like, hell yeah, this all makes sense. And listening to mainstream media, channel 11, channel 9, channel 5, channel 2.
Yes.
Even channel 7 after on Fridays. After what would you do? When I saw the other side, I was like, that's not. I mean, that can't be true. So when I first heard about the minimum wage and the pay gap, the gender pay gap, that's when it opened a lot of my eyes, because I realized that there is no gender pay gap.
Okay.
I was given a small piece of data that clearly said that there was a gender pay gap between men and women. And while there is a data, an article that is out there too, the interesting part, it combines all jobs of men and all jobs of women, and you see the disparity. Depending on which article you see $33 to the 33 cents to the dollar, 30 cents to the dollar. I've seen it as low as 25 cents to the dollar.
You mean 25 cents less than?
Yes.
So 75 cents. Great.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah, just thank you for clarifying for that one too, so for everyone can understand. And then when I saw the other side, that it was no, like, you guys are misinterpreting it. It's actually they're including all jobs. We know for a fact that men and women we all equally don't have the opposite job. There's not two doctors, one's a man and one's a woman.
Okay.
We know for a fact that men are more likely to go in the STEM, and that the STEM is higher paying. But we know women are more likely to go into social work, which is lower paying too. So we do see that disparity. When I started to see things like that, I was like, I was actually wrong on this case.
Okay.
But I will admit, it took me a long time to admit I was wrong.
Okay.
I did just ignore it. I'm just like, nah, whatever.
Right.
And then I saw a YouTube video of Steven Crowder about minimum wage, and I saw how minimum wage was actually a pretty bad thing. How it would actually hurt more people than it helped. How entry-level jobs would be more competitive, and that people like me coming out of high school, going to college, I just want to get a part-time job. I'm not competing with people who have work experience that are far more ahead of me.
Yeah.
So they can only hire a few people, and who are you going to hire? Some dumb college kid with no experience, or some adult with experience that's going to take you a lot more serious and could be available a lot more.
So I'm hearing minimum wage essentially pushes the lowest value workers out of the job market.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was just ideas like that I grew up believing that, we need to increase the minimum wage, that, there was a gender pay gap. Just these ideas I heard my entire life that I never even questioned for a second until I heard the other side that presented me with actual facts versus, this is what you believe and this is how reality is. And, I am Hispanic, and I did believe, like, all my problems was based on my race and everything was racist. And even though, like, I have experienced some type of racism, I have too. Society's not coming out for me because I'm brown. From my experience as of now, like, I can do almost anything in today's society. Like, it's really great the amount of opportunities I do have. It's just up to me to strive for them too. No one's kind of holding me back.
Good. Glad that's true.
So it was just a weird thing to be like, my entire life I truly believed this until I was presented with actual, with facts and a different point of view, and I was like, this makes a lot more sense to me.
Could you take me down one specific thing, any one of them, and tell me, like, the specific facts that changed your mind, and maybe how they were presented to you? I'm very interested in how people change their minds.
That's actually a good one. Give me a second to think. I want to give you a good one too. So I guess no. Let me see. When did I? Trying to think of a certain one that was like an eye-opening, because it was a slow process. It wasn't like just one moment where everything clicked. It was a slow but long process of just experiences and hear different points of views and when I was a Democrat, my own party changing slowly and slowly, being more progressive, and just realizing like this they don't represent me. So I'm sorry I can't give you one exact example that just changed my mind, but I will admit, like I'm not sure what most people are, but for me it was a slow process.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to truly come to this notion, like, yeah, I'm probably everything that I thought was right was not right.
Okay.
I lived in this weird bubble.
Okay. Let's see. So we mentioned pay gaps. We mentioned cherry pick data to support pay gaps. We mentioned minimum wage. We mentioned Bernie. We mentioned Obama and Trump. I'm trying to think of any of these that trigger a something you learned that changed your mind.
You know what? I will admit, so I do like talking to people. Sometimes when you ask so many people questions, they get a little bit annoyed of you, right? And they just kind of tell you off. So one time I was talking to an individual. It was after a poli-sci class.
Yes.
He was a conservative.
Yes.
Right. And I was interested. I was like, I heard so many people. Because I now admit I'm a conservative. Before I was always a Democrat. I'm always like, I met a conservative first time ever on a college campus. I want to ask all these questions, and I was trying to like question him, like, you're wrong on this. Well, you're wrong on this. You're wrong on this. So I can truly believe like I'm not wrong on what I was saying too. And I remember he just told me off, and I asked him about Barack Obama too. Sorry, that's why I brought it up too.
Yes.
He told me, dude, you're telling me Barack Obama is a good president when he deported over 4 million illegal immigrants that came to this country, and then he told me about like compared to other presidents, that was the most ever too. Then when he talked about like this was even before we even amend this country, that there was a divide, but he was saying, dude, you don't understand like the rhetoric and the diction he uses as well too. I'm not saying it's his fault. I'm not sure if you remember after Trayvon Martin, he talked about police brutality and about certain cops, and as a result, five cops in
Trayvon Martin wasn't about police brutality. There wasn't any police involved.
Sorry.
Trayvon Martin, it was a guy, was the neighborhood watch guy.
It was
I'm forgetting his name, but I have his face in my head.
My bad. It wasn't about police brutality, but it was like black people and people of color being oppressed in today's society too. So but when I mentioned police brutality, the reason I bring this up because the next day in I believe Texas, 5 cops were actually shot by a sniper. Wow. And many people do argue that it was a rhetoric based on Barack Obama. However, though, like, given the fact that Barack Obama didn't call for someone to shoot cops or, do anything like that too. But that was the first time ever I was introduced to this whole notion of like how, people of color and cops, you always hear it in like songs and crap, but it was the first time ever where I saw like a conservative saying he made this whole idea that like cops are really bad people and stuff.
Oh, Obama.
Yeah, so that's what he was getting.
Obama supported the idea that cops were bad or evil or something.
So let me try to rephrase it to make it more so I don't butcher my words here, right?
Sure.
But it was the whole fact that back in 2013 with Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman.
Yeah.
George Zimmerman. There we go.
Yes.
That it wasn't based on a race, the court case, but Barack Obama made it about race, and then he brought in how because of the gun laws there are very loose
in Florida.
Yes, in Florida. That's where
the whole, I think it was a stand your ground
law
rule,
where
it's like there's it almost seems like there's these two laws that are leaning up against each other, and you're going to pick one or the other, and that's going to it seems odd. The stand your ground law seems to be conflict with some other laws. Yeah.
So the reason why I also bring in like the division too. I'm honestly he mentioned a lot of stuff. I'm doing a disservice to what he told me too. But
this isn't an assignment. This is just a conversation. Yeah.
But he also mentioned something pretty interesting too, because how much the media did lie to us too.
Okay.
Because when that was all occurring too, we saw in 2013. I'm not sure exactly which news organization did it, but when I did believe it was about race my entire life until he showed me the actual facts, that it was an edited clip of the call made in asking from George Zimmerman,
Yes.
calling in the cops saying like there's this kid, he's suspicious. They ask a question. They also ask, what is he black, is he white, and they say he was black, but they edited out part saying what color he was, and he just said, there's this suspicious kid and he's black. And I was like,
I remember this on a show with like Jeff Daniels playing the anchorman it was on a show that was by the same guy who made the White Hat, the West Wing. Anyway, that's not important, but I remember the story as even recreated in the show later on. And yeah, it was about a true situation where in the editing, the way they edited it, it sounded either better or worse depending on whether they included this one chunk.
Yeah, so it was literally just. I know a lot of liberals do it today because whenever I post something controversial, they always message me trying to ask every question to try to get at me. But it's so true. Like I asked that kid every question I could think imaginable, thinking like I'm right. He has to be the one that's wrong, even though he had a rebuttal to everything I said. And it wasn't only until like I truly saw for myself the media was lying to us. Everything I thought when I truly researched it or saw the other side or saw that it was nitpicked evidence that like. Fudge cakes, I'm wrong here.
Okay.
And
fudge cakes. That's a cool term.
Thanks. I try not to cuss too much. Yeah. I say that and like what the fruit.
What the fruit? Okay. Yeah. Sure.
But yeah, it was and then I started to realize, what does it mean to be conservative at the same time too?
Okay.
Small government, lower taxes, more individual rights, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, what does that mean for me? And I've always heard the bad things. But when I started to see, the benefits of why we have those certain things and the way they're set out, especially capitalism, I started to be like, this is actually pretty cool.
So I'm reading a book.
Okay.
Now, because I'm reading a book, it's like if you walk around with a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So I'm applying this book to everything. And this might be completely out of the blue. There's a guy, Jonathan Haidt. He's a social researcher. And he says, if we listen to how people have values on these 6 different zones, we can tell a lot about them. Care versus harm.
Okay.
This is in no particular order. Authority, liberty, fairness. Can somebody help me with the other 2 off the top of my head? Sanctity. And anyway, so of those, I'll get to the other 6th one in a minute.
Okay.
Okay, I see it. Care, harm, liberty versus betrayal, loyalty versus betrayal, liberty versus oppression, authority versus subversion, fairness versus cheating, and sanctity versus degradation. First of all, do you know what I mean with all those 6?
No, not at all.
Okay. Care and harm is like we really got to care for all the people.
Right.
We want to make sure we don't allow any harm to especially groups that are disenfranchised. Loyalty, betrayal. That's like my team, go team. Or if you're really of this, you gotta stick with it. You gotta support your group even if they're a little wrong sometimes. Liberty versus oppression. I think the libertarians, that would be their thing. Liberty over everything else. Authority versus subversion. A lot of people have a strong support for authority, and some people like they're not into authority. Fairness of cheating. So if you do something unfair, that's a real big problem. And some people are pretty okay with cheating. They think cheating is clever. And then sanctity versus degradation. That if something is pure, if something is righteous, like a lot of people would be very angry if you treated a copy of their scriptures disrespectfully. Things like that. And that's like a sanctity thing. So with any of those, do you have any favorites with those 6? And maybe you have any of the least favorites?
I kind of liked how you went in order, because like each one I could, really see, at least me and my party for a certain thing too, authority, back the blue, my president, MAGA supporters, and obviously, you mentioned libertarian too,
libertarians. I think they put liberty above all those other 5.
Yeah, I mean, I do libertarians too, because you do see like with the likes of Nozick, he put a lot of emphasis on individual rights. And I think nowadays too, like you do see conservatives fighting for our certain, our freedom of speech. Let's
Yep.
use that for example too. You see now this whole thing about hate speech, and there's certain things you just can't say, or it gets flagged, or you can't say that because it's insensitive or it might offend somebody. So you just have to, suppress what you might say. That's why I think it comes out too. Just a lot of what you said, like not one stood out, but I can definitely see like, my party appearance on all of them.
Yeah. Jonathan Haidt says that amongst conservatives, all 6 are about equal.
Mm-hmm.
Amongst liberals, they are very into the care, harm, the fairness and cheating, and the authority. And they don't have much, they don't really like loyalty, liberty, or sanctity,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. The libertarians, liberty above all of them. So with those, it seems like Jonathan Haidt would say you are right down the middle, conservative values.
Yeah, sounds about right too. I definitely everything you actually just said. Like I literally down the middle. I couldn't choose one. Like I just mentioned before too. I can see the one with the liberals, libertarians. Obviously, they like Nozick said, like individual rights is above everything else. So I can definitely see that's a very interesting book. Could you also repeat that book, by the way?
The book is called The Righteous Mind.
The Righteous Mind
by Jonathan Haidt.
Okay.
Haidt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a book I'm reading right now, so it's just in my head. I don't know how important it is.
Sounds cool. No, I really do love books that can you can apply them to almost everything.
Yeah.
I'm reading David Goggins' Can't Hurt Us, and it's a self-help book. Just being able to have perseverance. The developmental growth. And it's cool to see books that you can actually apply to the society and yourself. And see where you stack. So I think that's really cool. You mentioned that.
So just to go along with the format, you used to be pretty sure, I don't know, somewhere in here, that there was a gender pay gap.
Mm-hmm.
And now I assume that you are past 50 down to pretty sure there kind of isn't.
Right.
Could you show me where you were and where you are?
So I was about maybe like 90 to 100% sure there was a gender pay gap.
So up in here,
And now today, I do believe that's about maybe 95 to 90. The reason I'm not at 100% too, because I do recognize at a micro level, there is some type of biases.
Sure.
Whether it become to race or right now we're talking about gender, that can be that can be used as a result to not pay someone too, just for sexism.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll just put it at maybe 99 at that point.
99. Okay.
If it's just
so like a little sliver in there, because some small tiny amount of something.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my hypotheticals. What could you learn? It's a hypothetical. It doesn't have to be a true thing. But I'm looking at what could you learn tomorrow that would move you closer to 100, closer to this edge of the.
I guess.
What kind of data moves you is the question.
I guess for this specific question, because I've studied it so much and seen so many evidence that it doesn't occur, and that we do have laws now. Well, I mean, it's not supposed to occur, and we have laws now protecting women and against sexism and stuff too. That let's say for the next 10 years.
So I'm hearing that the laws and the system that we have pushed you this way.
Right, and it will get me over the 1% hunch. Is like, let's say we never hear in the next 10 years of another count of sexism occurring again. However, when saying that, I can't remember a time where I did hear. I mean, maybe you might something I don't know, but in the last few years, I haven't heard of either a big court case or even a small court case, but someone being paid differently based on their gender and that being allowed to just stay.
Right. I have not heard of that happening at the court level. And I follow about 3 or 4 lawyers online because I'm just interested in how it works. It's just a fascinating process as people do litigiousness. And I haven't heard of any actual cases where somebody was where a corporation was actually being hit up for having a policy of paying somebody differently based on gender. Seems like they're avoiding the hell out of it. Okay. So what kind of data could move you the other direction? Not necessarily how far, but just even a sliver, like ting, like here. I guess it would be one of those cases where I mean, maybe it's just the inverse. You find that Jeff Bezos is being sued because Amazon secretly had a policy where they would fire women when they got too much seniority and keep the men on so that they could something.
Yeah,
maybe.
I mean, yeah, possibly. You know, that could sway me too. You know, I also think it's pretty interesting though. Like, you look at the Eastern Bloc of communist where communism was in the 60s and 80s.
Yes.
Trying to make it equal as possible, and we did see that women got paid equally as man.
Okay.
However, that when they did get pregnant, let's say in Yugoslavia. I mean, I'm not sure that's a good example because Tito was pretty cool and stuff. Not cool, but he was more nicer than Stalin. But we did see that there was still just
the streaming computer that we're operating through is in North Macedonia.
No way.
Which is the place you're talking about.
Cool.
Or somewhere close.
All right, cool. Then I'm sure people there know exactly what Tito is and what I'm talking about too. But we did see like
I'll ask them about it later.
Cool. We did see like even though he was trying to be.
Yes, that was my producer just saying we have varying opinions on Tito.
Yeah, I bet, dude, I bet. Like I said, like he was, I mean, yeah, choose between him and Stalin. Like people would choose Tito, but when it comes to that, like he's not pretty much of a nice guy. But yeah, even when things were trying to equal as possible, we did see gender disparity that men were more unlikely to hire women because after they got pregnant, they couldn't that they would have to leave the job or they were unlikely to hire them because after they came back, they had 2 years or 1.5 years of maternal leave too.
Okay.
So they couldn't rely on them like they could a man who wouldn't have that same issue too. So I think it's so interesting that we still see that disparity.
Because we don't have paternity leave. It gave the employers an incentive to hire men.
So yeah, I think that's so interesting too, just to see that even when things were trying to be as equal as possible, we still saw that things were not equal.
Yeah. Well, I think the difference is paternity and maternity leave.
Yeah.
In that particular case. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for this conversation. I've really enjoyed it.
I appreciate it a lot. Thank you so much.
Of course, another puzzle piece.
Oh, really? I got another one? Hell yeah. I can't wait. I'm going to come on Friday or something. Though. Okay. Last one. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Look forward to it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So cool. You've been doing this for 4 years?
No, he has.
Oh, okay.
No, I've been doing this. I've been practicing myself in 18 and 19. And I think I started working with Reed in January of 20.
Okay.
And then we